Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. After the Sunday death of former President Jimmy Carter, many people are sharing stories of the projects and policies he touched during his 100 years. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to folks in Pikeville who say the man's legacy is something he built with his own two hands.
Former President Jimmy Carter's impact goes beyond politics.
And very useful things that we can do are copying the life of Christ, who reached out to people in need, who showed compassion.
When the history book is written, and if there's a chapter on servant leadership, Jimmy and Rosalind Carter will be certainly featured very highly in that chapter.
For many families in Pikeville, Carter was a picture of boots on the ground.
He considered himself to be an average, ordinary person. And that's the reason he insisted on doing some work. He provoked us into doing something that was good for other people. And without his leadership, we wouldn't have done that.
Helping to build more than 50 homes with Habitat for Humanity in 1997.
After almost a week of public appearances and carpentry work, Carter seems to welcome the opportunity to reflect on the work being done.
President Carter and Mrs. Carter were just so actively involved. I mean, they weren't here for a photo op. They came here on a mission to build houses, and they stayed true to that mission all week.
Bringing a national spotlight to the area to show not poverty, but the power of people.
About doing good for other people and not expecting praise because of it. Did it because that was just him, that was his nature.
By creating something that is still standing as a form of security and shelter to families nearly 3 decades later.
A long-lasting, one of the most basic human needs, obviously, is shelter, and to provide that the way Habitat did and their partnership with the Carters was just ideal.
But it is more than the foundations and walls that Carter is remembered for, as the news of his death echoes through the homes he helped to build. It is the love he put on full display that people say will be his true legacy.
And at the end of the week, there was a big celebration in the city park, and I was standing there and I looked over, and here was President Carter and Mrs. Carter slow dancing in the Pikeville City Park in my hometown, and it was so indicative of their love for each other and their love for their fellow man.
Saying if you listen closely, you can still hear him hammering in the hills.
Will be for a long time.
In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Former Governor Paul Patton says Carter's visit not only planted homes for more than 50 families, but cemented Habitat for Humanity's ongoing presence in the county, saying it only further proves his lasting legacy. One man is dead following a shooting that happened in Bell County. On Christmas night, police say they received a call about an unresponsive man. When they arrived at the scene, police say they determined a family altercation led to an 18-year-old shooting another family member. The victim, 55-year-old Michael Smith, died at the scene. The 18-year-old, who was not identified, was charged with manslaughter and was taken to the Bell County Detention Center. A man is facing charges after being accused of endangering children in Wolfe County. The incident started when the man was getting off the Mountain Parkway and entering Highway 15. Keith Castle reportedly drove into the opposite lane at one point and brake-checked the sheriff's deputy multiple times. After fleeing from police, they eventually found Castle a half-mile away from where the vehicle was parked. He was taken to the Three Forks Regional Jail. Also in Wolfe County, 4 people are facing charges after police were called to a cemetery about suspicious activity yesterday. When police arrived, they discovered 3 vehicles were near the cemetery. After one vehicle tried to get away from police, it came to a stop. Police found suspected meth and other paraphernalia. Amber Schwabel, Christopher Howard, Daniel Perkins, and Brandon Lewis were all taken to the Three Forks Regional Jail. Police in Whitley County arrested a man who reportedly has a history of numerous felony convictions. Last weekend, police pulled over Muhammad Jabbar in Williamsburg following some reported traffic violations. When police searched his vehicle, they found a pistol. When they researched his criminal record, it showed Jabbar was a domestic violence offender with an active protection order from the state of Louisiana. He was taken to the Whitley County Jail. In Knox County, a man is facing charges after being accused of opening mailboxes. The reported incident happened on Sunday. Police received a complaint about the incident, which happened at the Bryant Store community. When they conducted an investigation, they determined 32-year-old David Ryan Jackson was the man involved. Jackson was later arrested when police found him walking on Kentucky 1809. He was taken to the Knox County Detention Center.
Well, as advertised yesterday, we had temperatures in the 50s, even low 60s. Take a look at the numbers for today. Here's how they played out. 61 was the high in Manchester. Harlan made it to 63. 61 in Jonesville, 60 in Middlesboro, 59 in Williamsburg, 58 in Monticello. Somerset made it to 59. Same story in Jackson as well as Hazard. Prestonsburg and Pikeville checked in with a high of 60. And we're much cooler now. We had the cold front swing through. Now we're seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, even low 50s. Jonesville barely hanging on to the 50-degree threshold. I'll get out in a second. 50-degree threshold. We were right at 50, 52 in Grundy, and then 40s from Prestonsburg over to Monticello. So we're seeing a little bit of rain being picked up on live pinpoint Doppler radar. Here's Campbell and Claiborne County in Tennessee, and we'll go ahead and move up into the central portion of our viewing area. We had a little bit of rain push through Hazard. We'll see a nice little heavy batch push through as we go into the next hour or so. And then here's the Painesville, West Liberty, Pikeville area seeing some rain at this hour. So we'll keep the rain chances in the forecast for tonight, continuing into the overnight hours. Some of that will transition over to a little bit of snow. Overnight lows will be in the mid-30s. Now, all eyes are on this weekend, and we'll talk about that in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Amelia.
All right, Eric, thank you. Officials in Wolfe County say a lineman was injured while responding to an outage during the weekend. The Licking Valley Rural Electric Co-op says the lineman was removing a tree from a power line when the tree catapulted and hit him. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. We don't know his condition at this time, and the co-op asks that you keep the lineman and his family in your thoughts. With freezing temperatures expected in the next few days, leaders in one eastern Kentucky city are working to prevent pipe bursts. WYMT's Caroline Mueller spoke with officials about how the city, as well as those living there, can prepare for the situation.
Hazard's aging water system has been a challenge during past cold snaps, but officials say they're making progress.
Our plant was built in like 1950, so we have been working real hard and staying diligent and trying to replace as much as we can. Right now we're going through over $75 million worth of new water projects.
City Manager Tony Eversole says folks can also take precautions to avoid frozen and bursting pipes.
Make sure it's buried, make sure that it's got heat tape on it, you know, if need be. You need to be around 18 inches deep at least, and you know, just protect your own stuff. Don't leave if your pipes are insulated good and you're buried good, you don't have to leave your water dripping.
The National Weather Service in Jackson warns exposed pipes face a higher risk of freezing.
As we start getting well below freezing, especially overnight lows, sometimes places that might are more exposed, you know, so like those that might be in manufactured housing or those that might have that are on campsites and things like that, they may want to take precautions to protect those pipes.
Eversole says the city has crews ready to respond to any leaks or bursts.
Our maintenance crews are always out. We've got crews on standby. We've got crews that work on the weekend. We've got crews that work on the evenings, and we've got a dandy bunch that really tries to attack the leak as quick as possible.
City officials and weather experts agree. Preparation is key to minimizing damage and disruption. They're reminding everyone to stay ahead of the freeze. Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
If you experience a pipe burst, officials say you can report it to the city's 24/7 leak line, or you can contact the police department. The number's on your screen right now, 606-436-2222. A new law set to take effect soon has some state vaping businesses concerned. House Bill 11 was designed to keep vaping products away from kids, and it sets fines for businesses who break the law. But some say there is a lot of unintended consequences with the law, and those enforcing it could put some out of business. Tony Florence says the enforcement arm of the bill, passed with the intent to keep products away from kids, is the state Alcoholic Beverage Control Agency.
Has interpreted HB 11 in such a way that she's requiring a safe harbor certification document that doesn't exist for any product to stay on the market.
Lawrence says there's other lawsuits still working their way in both the state and federal level. He says he's operating a legitimate business that is helping people kick a habit.
A total of 5 businesses and the Kentucky Hemp Association filed a lawsuit that a Franklin Circuit judge dismissed in July. It was appealed, but a court of appeals rejected that appeal earlier this month. And there are some other big legislative changes going to effect at midnight. That includes the legalization of medical cannabis. People with conditions like PTSD and chronic nausea can qualify for cards. Ownership fees for electric vehicles will increase by 5%. The new fees will be $126 for EVs and plug-in hybrid EVs, $63 for electric motorcycles, and $0 for hybrid vehicles. Owners will pay with their normal registration renewal.